But first, rowing, a sport that surfaces in most people's minds once a year on Boat Race Day. However, in the last few weeks, it's made a large and possibly unwelcome impact in the national press, all because the sport has appointed a woman as the new boss of men's rowing. Here's Simon Reed.
7 o'clock in the morning on the Thames at Hammersmith, and already a group of Los Angeles hopefuls are hard at it. Rowing is a demanding sport, particularly if you're working for the Director of Coaching, Penny Chuter. Penny was herself an international competitor and is still completely at home on the water.
I've lived by the river all my life. My father was a yachtsman and my mother was an international swimmer. And there was the river outside the door and I took to the water. I was a physical education teacher after I stopped rowing, and I went into that because I like teaching. I like helping people, and I'm interested in physical performance and physical ability.
Now, when you did start coaching, and even as a competitor, did you find much sexism in the sport?
I think to start with, a new coach who's appointed is always going to be evaluated rather more carefully in the early stages, and I certainly felt that I was being, if you like, over-evaluated. People were expecting me to be better, if you like, than my male counterpart. But I think gradually they accepted that I did know my stuff, I did know what I was doing, and hopefully that I was doing a good job, and I have now been doing it for 10 years.
When you were competing, you're quoted as saying you were out of your time. What did you mean by that?
Well, that's interesting, because when I was competing, it was just get on with it yourself. Sort out your own training programs, find the money to send yourself abroad to international regattas, organise air tickets and do everything. And I started at 17 and finished at 22 when my international career really had hardly begun. And I stopped because I didn't have all the things that we now offer our internationals: organisation, coaching, financial support, and all these sort of things. And so I stopped at the age of 22.
Stephen, a lot of people would be surprised that great big guys like you, rowing at the highest level, are coached by a woman. Is that surprising to you?
It's a little surprising, really, but to the average bystander. But to us, really, in her day of rowing, she was very good, and we just accept her and just accept her.
And the fact that she's a woman doesn't enter into it at all?
Doesn't bother us at all, I think, no.
It's different, but she does her job very well. She's very dedicated, and she gives up a lot of her own time. She knows it very well, and I'm quite happy to coach by her.
Although the majority of rowers have no doubt about Penny's ability, the fact that she's been put in direct control of the men's squad has aroused considerable controversy within the sport.
Well, my appointment as Director of Coaching hasn't aroused any controversy. This appointment has, simply because for 2 or 3 years now we have been becoming more and more unsuccessful. And last year's scheme was unsuccessful, and it's very, very difficult now to step in and pick up the loose ends. I think the fact that I'm female, it's convenient for a very, very few people. It actually is a minuscule minority who happen to have got the eye of the press, and they just find that the fact that I'm female a convenient way to put forward their reservations.
Now, when you were appointed, I think you said that it was too late already for Los Angeles. Is that right?
Yes, it is, because one of the things that I have been recommending for several years is that we should be doing more on the developmental side, and we have let that slip, and so we now have a sort of a big void. We have a few at the top, and when they've gone, we have very little. And so this year, if oarsmen do not want to get on with it, if their motivation is not to get to the Olympic Games and to do their very best, and there are some that could still win medals, I haven't any doubt about that, if we can get them in the right combinations. If they don't want to do it, well, then we will concentrate on the future, 1985 to 1988, and now that is more important.
But the powerful style of Penny Chuter still might bring us success in Los Angeles.